Ladies and gentlemen, welcome again to another episode of Cage Talk. Today, we have an MMA legend. We have a gentleman who's fought in UFC, Strikeforce, Dream, Pride, Impact FC, World Victory Road, Cage Warriors. I mean, he is a submission wrestling champion. He's a jiu-jitsu world champion. He is the man named the Snowman. Sorry about that. I got it's a little hot in here. The Snowman Monson. How you doing, buddy?
I'm good, man. Thank you for having me on.
No, I appreciate you taking the time again. I'm a big fan. Been watching you since forever. I mean, you are a complete legend. I mean, I think your MMA record is like 67 and something. You have
I got a lot of fights, man. A lot of fights.
You have a lot of bouts, under your belt. But again, loved watching you, whether it was inside the octagon or just watching you in your jiu-jitsu matches or anything like that. It was always a pleasure to watch you. So again, thank you for coming.
Oh, you're welcome, and we appreciate having me.
So quick question, man, because this is kind of one of the things I wanted to know was, how'd you get the nickname the Snowman?
Oh, wow. So back in 1999, it was my first UFC world, or my first what do you call it? Abu Dhabi World Championship, and I really had no business being there. But my coach at the time, Matt Hume, was friends with the Sheik,
Okay.
and so I got to go with Josh Barnett. We had a team from the state of Washington go, and man, nobody knew who I was. This big white guy, and but I had, I had all Brazilians in my weight basically.
Yeah.
And I was, won a match, and won another match, and I won another. Like, I was winning, tougher guy after tougher guy. And they said, man, he's like a white, when you make a snowman, you make like a ball and you roll it.
Okay.
And it gets bigger and bigger. He's like a snowman, when you make a snowman, he's like a ball that gets bigger and bigger. So I was getting like more confident as the tournament went on.
Yep.
And like starting to really like get it into it. And I won it. I won the worlds. And it was a shock to everybody. And so they said, man, he's like, it just came like big white guy that's like a big snowman, like getting bigger as the tournament went on.
There we go. That's awesome. And again, the name and the legend lives on, man. That's awesome. Again, that was always something that I always found interesting, just like how the nicknames come about. And again, like you said, it was a tournament that you had, and boom, the nickname stuck.
Now, yeah, not the toughest name in the world, but original, I guess.
Now, starting your career in combat sports, what led you to doing this, and what was your first was it jiu-jitsu that you started out and you wanted to do that, or was it wrestling?
Well, I started, I wrestled in college.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was one match away from being All-American, and so I still had, like, in my mind, some unfinished competing to do. I was really devastated by that.
Okay.
And then I moved to Washington, and I moved to Minnesota, got my master's degree, and then was working on my doctorate degree. And I was going to we had a judo club, so I was going to judo and some judo tournaments. And I was going every year. I was helping coach at the Minnesota Duluth college team.
Okay.
And being assistant coach and grad coach, and so I go to the U.S. Open every year and compete and do. Some years I did really well, like one match away, like 3 years in a row from placing in the top 6 would put me on the ladder. It doesn't make you on like the Olympic or world team, but it puts you on the ladder. To me, it's like being an All-American. I was close so many times, and I was thinking, man, I have a wife, I have 2 kids, I have a job, I'm going to grad school, and I'm doing this like on my time at night, and I'm almost there. And these guys are living at the Olympic Training Center that I'm competing against, and I'm at that level, but just a little short. I just like it's hard me because I couldn't stop work and like
Gotcha.
feeding my family or quit school. So I was just like, and then we were in Seattle, and I saw Josh Burnett there, and um, Maurice Smith, who won the UFC title, and then Randy Couture was fighting in Oregon, and I knew these guys, and they
Okay.
were, this new thing called the UFC was coming out. They were fighting, and I was like, so I started doing a bunch of amateur fights and training it, and I thought, my wrestling was doing well, and I just kind of naturally picked up the jiu-jitsu,
Okay.
but nothing really happened until I won the Worlds, the Abu Dhabi Worlds that I just described.
Yeah.
I got the nickname, and then after that, um, I quit. A couple years after that, I quit doing the mental health and just moved to Florida with the newly formed American Top Team, and just to kind of said, okay, I'm going to be a fighter until
Okay.
I get old, and then I can always go back to mental health.
Gotcha. What which American Top Team? Where was it located? Which one did you go to in Florida?
Well, it's like it wasn't even an American Top Team yet. At this point, it was Silveria Brothers, and it's in
Okay.
Florida, Coconut Creek, Florida.
Okay.
Where the big school is now, and so we were in actually Boca Raton, Florida, close by, and they asked me to come down and help teach wrestling. They teach me to be like actual jiu-jitsu,
Gotcha.
and then I could get some fights. And man, I gotta say, it was a life-changing experience because I went down there. Remember, I'd won Abu Dhabi. I'd taken second in Abu Dhabi twice,
Mhm.
and won a bunch of fights. And I come down there, and I have a fight right away with Rodriguez in the UFC under American Top Team. I lose badly. Then I go to Abu Dhabi, and I lose. I don't place for the first time. Then a couple months later, I tear my bicep. I'm out for like 9 months, and I was like, man. And then a lot in between there, I lost to Forrest Griffin at a fight. So I'm like, man, these guys. I'm like, oh, for whatever. Like, there's no way they're gonna want me anymore.
Mhm.
But they stuck by me, man. Like when no one believed in me, when no one thought I'd be anything, I was just kind of, got lucky a couple times at Abu Dhabi. They believed in me and stuck by me through 9 months of not really being part of the team, being injured. And,
Yeah.
I definitely wouldn't have had the career I had without them. It's really, really quite a blessing. I got,
Definitely.
met these guys and got hooked up there.
And how devastating was that the injury? You said you tore your bicep. You said.
Yeah. So it tore off the bone. And so they had to surgically repair it. They had to put it back in
Okay.
through the ulna and radius, and tie it on the other end. You're like in a what do you call it, a arm sling for about 2 months, and then so I mean it's a long time before it's dead. It's a injury you come back from 100%, but
Mhm.
in the meantime, before you do, you can't do nothing.
Gotcha.
So
Gotcha. So once you went to the UFC, I remember I think your last fight was a title fight, correct?
yeah,
Was
yeah,
UFC
Tim
65
Silva.
against Tim Silva. It was a 5-round decision, and after that situation, you wanted to go to Pride, right? You wanted out of UFC.
Well, after that situation, after that fight,
Hmm.
um, I thought, okay, it's gonna be a long time before I get this chance again. But I got offered a fight with Fedor about 2 months after, and so I asked out of the UFC,
Okay.
um, because I was gonna fight Fedor, and I was like, "Here's the best heavyweight of all time,"
Yep.
and it's like a different opportunity. Like to me, that would have been bigger than winning the UFC at that time because he had never lost at that point, and he's like the best.
Yep.
So I was like, "Yeah, I really want this chance." The fight didn't materialize, and I ended up fighting somebody else, can't remember, in Japan, and that went all right. And then started fighting in some other promotions and having some success, some not success. But it was I don't know. It's like one of those moments in your life that you kind of let slip away. Still think about it, you know.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that would have been a hell of a fight, you versus Fedor. Now, for contract negotiations, are you a big part of that, or is that mostly your team handles that? How's that work between fighters
I
and stuff?
I mean, I back in the day, like American Top Team did, but like I
Hmm.
pretty much do it myself now. So I mean, for the title, for the UFC title, the champion, the heavyweight title of the world,
Yep.
I made 13 grand. I
Wow.
mean, it's like I made like wow. So
So that title fight, you made 13 grand.
yeah,
Huh.
13 grand. Like
Wow.
it's like now you're a title fight. You know, if you lose a title fight, there's no way you're making less than $500,000 or
Exactly. Yeah,
three
you're
quarters of a million, something of
yeah.
dollars for, especially like a heavyweight, probably more. But um, you know, so if I'd won, I would have made double. I would have made 26.
And then talk me through that fight. What was your game plan? I know Tim Silva is just he's his reach, his height is obviously it's the difference between you and him. But
Yeah.
what was the game plan going in and stuff? And if you can go a little bit play by play on that
I
fight.
mean, like that. You know, like, such a good saying is hindsight's always 20/20. And so in that fight, like I trained so hard, crazy hard. I was in great shape, like fantastic. I never trained harder. I trained literally 4 months for that fight, like every day for 4 months, like hard. And I was ready, but you know the mistake I made is I just thought, okay, if I get him down, I'm gonna win. Well,
Mhm.
I didn't grapple. I didn't do jiu-jitsu enough for that fight. I did lifting, I did running, I did conditioning, I did some boxing, but I didn't grapple enough. And so
Gotcha.
when I got him down, um, you know, his long length and size and stuff made a difference. But um, you know, and after I got him down in the third round, we get the third round, like the rest of the fight was like, um, I don't remember it at all. And what had happened, I still, you know, to this, I was like, how did I not remember what happened in this fight? Like, what happened? I wasn't hurt. I
Hmm.
wasn't like, what happened? And actually, about a year ago, um, I had Tim come to Russia, and we did a grappling match,
Okay.
and like a revenge thing for me. And I got him down. I choked him out. I was like, and after the match, we're kind of laughing, like in the locker room. And I'm like, man, I would give you this win if I could have had the one before a few years ago, you know. And
Definitely.
we were talking. We went out to dinner and stuff. And what he said, that I mean, now it makes sense. I'm glad I talked to him. Is when I took him down, I tried to pass from the left side to the right side past his guard, and
Okay.
as I did, he clipped me in the side of the head with his elbow, and I went out for like 2 seconds. And my head went down, and you could see it on the video. I never knew this happened. And he's like John McCarthy, John, he's out, he's out, he's out. And by the time John went closer, looking, by the time
You
he
jumped.
kind of got, yeah, I kind of got my wits back.
Gotcha.
But that really that put me out for the fight. Like real, like I didn't. The rest of it's kind of a dream. And, you know, after this fight, I remember I had like the north south position. I had him in
Yep.
a front headlock in that round, and I just don't. I just didn't do not. I was like in slow motion, like just like, oh, what do I do? What do I do? And I think some of it's the fact I hadn't grappled, but a lot of it was that just getting clipped in the head by that elbow.
So that
And that
elbow was the game changer.
I think so, man, because the first 2 rounds he won, and I couldn't get him down. But man, it's like nothing. I was in such good shape.
Mhm.
Like in the third, like you lose 2 rounds, you think, oh, but man, it had zero effect on me. I'm like, I'm still gonna win. I was 99% sure I was gonna still win the fight and get him down. And I got him down in the third round, right in the first 15 seconds. I thought, okay, this is it.
Mhm.
And it just, you know. So I mean, he threw the punch or
Yeah.
the elbow, so it's his victory. So
Again, it was a great fight, and again, like I said, I loved watching you, man. Just technique and jiu-jitsu alone You're always fun to watch. Again, you've done so many tournaments and stuff like that. If there's anyone, if anyone's watching out there, I mean, you look up highlights of Jeff Monson, and I mean, there's again a bunch of them that are just excellent to watch and really good to learn from, man. But like we're saying, we go back after that. You go to Pride. How was Pride? Especially back in the day. A lot of people don't know because, I mean, obviously it was bought up by UFC, all that good stuff. But, I mean, I enjoyed Pride itself. I liked the rules. And it seemed like they were putting better fights at that time.
I tell you what, as an organization,
Mm-hmm.
I loved fighting. I always wanted to fight for Pride. I liked the fights. It was exciting. You know, just being in Japan, all the stuff in front of so many people. And, I fought the very last Pride show, the very last Pride fight on the very last Pride show. And, so I won, and, it was good. The whole experience was just fantastic. They treated you good. They, I just remember like the crowd, there were like 40,000 people, 45,000 people in the stadium. And like every punch, everything, it wasn't like screaming, yelling, but it was
man.
Like,
the Japanese crowd they have such I guess crowd what would be a good like crowd, man, what's the word? I mean, they were
respectful.
They were really respectful. It was very quiet.
And they appreciate stuff like a submission attempt or like
or passing from guard. Passing from guard, they would clap and stuff like.
Yeah. Like everything's polite and like there's never screaming. It's always ooh,
yep,
whoa,
mm-hmm.
like this, like and yeah, it was pretty fun, man. It was good experience, man. I really enjoyed fighting for them.
Gotcha, man.
So,
again,
and the funny thing is, I fought Roy Nelson.
Okay.
2 weeks before in Sarasota, Florida, on a Roy Jones card. Roy Jones put like an MMA/boxing card together.
Okay.
So I beat Roy Jones, and the next week I fought in Northern Ireland, and I had a fight there. I won, and then the next week I fought who's it? Can't think. Anyway, the last Pride fight, and Roy Jones. I had a Roy Nelson in my corner because we kind of became friends after our fight.
Oh, really?
And I'm like, yeah. They go, man, did you and your wife come and like corner me for my fight? And he agreed. So it's pretty cool. So the guy I fought 2 weeks earlier cornered me in that fight. And man, it was a good couple of weeks, man. Good weeks.
That's awesome. Yeah, I met Roy Nelson when I used to live in Boca Raton, and
okay.
Yeah, and I lived I worked in the airport, the Marriott, and actually him and his wife came in. I don't know if they were doing training because I know the Black Zillions are over there and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know what he was doing there, but I mean there was no fight or anything. But I remember checking him in, and I took a picture. I mean he's a super nice guy, man. It was super cool.
Yeah, very.
But that's really interesting though. That the guy you fought 2 weeks ago, now he's your corner. That's pretty insane.
Yeah, that's a beauty of MMA, man. Like you never see that in boxing, very rarely.
Yeah.
With boxing, like MMA guys, sometimes they fight. Like on our team, we had a bunch of guys. Had a guy fought in England. Joined our team. We trained together. Had a bunch of guys I fought or I was on the same card with.
Mm-hmm.
Andre Arlovsky, who were in the same weight class. We almost fought, but Tim Silva beat him, so I ended up fighting Tim. Like we're a bunch of. It's just a, it's a very respectful sport.
Gotcha.
On the most part,
Yeah, definitely. And again, it's always like that, especially in the gym and stuff, and training partners and stuff, and especially partners who fight each other or have to fight each other and stuff. Sometimes it can get a little sticky, like the Tito Ortiz, Chuck Liddell, like they were friends, and then Chuck said he would fight him, and it was all that dilemma. But again, at the end of the day, it's all about respect and stuff, and MMA is really big on that, like you said. So, you know what's funny is that there's a lot of people that I've talked to fighter-wise and saying that Pride was a really, really good organization. Not that UFC is not a bad organization to work for, but they just, for some reason, Pride just knew what to do and how to.
They knew how to really,
fighters.
like, yeah, they didn't. Yeah, it was a different feel. They really fit in with the Japanese culture and just, yeah, it's hard to describe.
Yeah, definitely.
So, but
And again, we actually, funny little story here. We actually met. I think it was in 2000. Oh man, it was the night. It was a fight night in Fort Lauderdale, and it was Rashad Evans versus Sean Salmon. Do you remember that?
okay, yeah, I remember that fight.
And you were there. And I remember after the event, I took a picture with you, and my dad's like, "Who's this guy? He looks like he's gonna tear your head off." I'm like, "Man, he's a UFC fighter." I remember taking that picture. Unfortunately, I don't have that picture because I would have loved to show you, like, 10-year-old me compared to you. I mean, I was like 10 of you, but again, we did meet a long time ago, which is pretty crazy how things work out. I see a blank screen.
Can you hear me?
I hear you. I just don't see it.
Okay, hold on. I think I need to plug us in here. I'm sorry.
No, that's all right, Jeff.
Okay, how do I get us back? Okay.
There, and you're almost back. I see a black screen.
Okay.
You in the dark?
Can you see?
No, I don't see you. I see a screen, but it's just dark. It's all right. We'll get it together. There we go. Now I see you.
Okay, sorry about that.
No, that's all right, man. So what is Jeff the Snowman Monson doing now? What are you doing now these days?
Well, I'm in Russia most of the time.
Okay.
I have a citizenship in Russia as well, so I'm there. I'm working at as a what they call them deputats, which is basically commissioner right outside of Moscow.
Okay.
I have an MMA gym there for not serious people, but for just people who want to like train and like kids and like adults who want to get in shape and stuff like that. And I'm just working. I basically do a lot of political, social issue, working with homeless, working with kids, working with people that are poor or alcoholic or something like that. I'm trying to get their lives back together. And then I'm really concentrating on jiu-jitsu and grappling again and I just had a match a couple of weeks ago, and now I want to get back kind of on the circuit and see how I do there.
How'd you do in their match?
I won. Yeah, I was sloppy. I hadn't had a match in 2 years, but I was sloppy, but I ended up getting a choke. So it landed well. Started bad, ended well. So
that's good for you, man. Just get back to it, man. You're world class in all the combat sports. You're great, man. You had background in boxing as well. You had a boxing career. You only had a couple of fights, right, in boxing as well?
Yeah, it's 3. Yeah,
3, right?
It was good to do it, man. I had that. We talked about that bicep injury.
Mm-hmm.
So when I came back for the bicep injury, I couldn't grapple because I couldn't like squeeze hard, but I could
because I was so tight. You know, part of it was because my muscles were so tight, I wasn't loose, that I hadn't trained right up to that point. And the guy, my doctor said, man, you got to really stretch and loose. So boxing was good because you kind of flick your hands, it's not tight. You know, you got to be loose. So I did. I started training boxing, and plus it would help with my MMA. So I worked with Howard Davis, the Olympic champion, that was on our team, and he helped me a lot, and got a couple boxing matches and stuff. So it was good.
That's awesome, man. That's really good. And again, like I said before, we end this. I was always a big fan. Love watching you. You're just a master at your craft, whether it was jiu-jitsu or it was wrestling. I mean, you always put on a good show, regardless if you were in UFC, you were in Pride or Strikeforce or any other organization. So I do want to say thank you so much for all your hard work.
Appreciate that.
In the ring. And
so it looks like you're a Titans fan, yeah?
just a little bit. I'm actually it's in my garage. This is one of my walls. On the other side.
Where are you right now?
I am in Dallas, Texas.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yep, I'm in Dallas, Texas.
You're a Titans fan.
I'm a Titans fan. I get harassed by Cowboys fans all the time. It's just like that. But again, I'm originally from Jersey, so I'm all the sports team is New York or Jersey, and then the random NFL team. I mean, I like the New Jersey Devils. I like the New York Yankees. I like the New York Knicks, unfortunately, and then I like the Tennessee Titans. So yeah, that's
okay. There you go.
That's the funny. You like American football or not really? Who's your team?
Yeah, I was born in Minnesota, so I'm a Twins fan, Vikings fan. Yeah, and I like hockey a lot. So
I mean, hockey in Minnesota is where it's at. I mean, the Devils used to be good, and then they just haven't been good since. But
yeah, the Devils beat Devil. Well, I'm a Dallas Stars fan because
we beat you in the Stanley Cup. There you go.
Yeah, that's exactly. I still remember that overtime goal. So
yeah, I remember that too. I was tiny, but yeah, I remember that. But again. Thank you so much for stopping by, for giving us some of your insights on the combat sports and MMA game. And I do appreciate you coming on and spending some time. I know you have your kids there and stuff. And you want to spend time with them. But again, thank you so much.
No, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
And again, ladies and gentlemen, this is Jeff the Snowman Monson. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Perfect.